We're going live here. We're live.
Bobby, get your adverbs here.
I think there's some funny stuff going on in the world of technology. Not having to do with the election. That's a whole nother world of technology that we are. Here it is. Retweet this. Wait a second. That's a pinned tweet, not that one.
Pinned tweet.
Here we are. We're live. Out to my crew, my nation. All right, Matt. Listen. Happy Monday to you. Got a little holiday week, right?
Yes, sir. How are you?
For forever, my favorite holiday of the year. By the way, Thanksgiving. Nothing like playing in a turkey bowl.
Also, Woodstock's favorite.
What's that?
Also, Woodstock's favorite holiday from Snoopy.
Really? I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, for me, just, Thanksgiving, and what a great time to celebrate, especially your labor, right? The fruits of your labor. Thank God that we live in a free country where we can work our ass off if we want,
right.
or not. We can go to the uncle that's been kicking ass, right, and have an incredible spread and be thankful that he's your uncle.
Right.
Right? And they're like, and the turkey bowl, there's winners and losers in the turkey bowl every year. Two-hand shove, right?
You and I were talking about the turkey bowl last week, and then I swear to God, I turn on my TV and Hulu tells me to watch this movie called Turkey Bowl. And I'm like, what? There's a movie?
You're always listening.
But I'll tell you, it was one of the freaking worst movies I've ever seen.
That's shameful.
Well, there wasn't even a star in it. So I think, Barry Switzer was in it.
And was it about a holiday?
Yeah. It was about the kid who left small town Oklahoma. That's why Barry Switzer was in it. He went to the big city, Chi-Town, met the pretty woman whose dad now just announced right before Thanksgiving that he's running for president next year. And chaos ensues, as you can imagine. And the old girlfriend from Oklahoma shows up in Oklahoma. She's still living there.
Does she play in the turkey bowl?
No, she's a cheerleader, of course.
Listen, man, I played in plenty of turkey bowls. I played in plenty of co-ed turkey bowls,
And you weren't afraid to two-hand shove those co-ed.
Two-hand shove, man. I played in turkey bowls where I had to look a guy in the eye and say, hey, listen, man, you understand this is for fun. We're not really going to try to kill the other team.
Right.
Like, slow down. Why didn't you go out for a high school athletic endeavor?
Well, he missed that door. Obviously, it was open and it closed on him, and now he's wishing
exactly. Anyway, Matt, I know that you've been paying attention to this World Economic Forum and the Great Reset. I think more than most. I'm just going to roll the World Economic Forum.
By the way, this has been out. What you're going to roll has been out there for about a year, and now, and it's been publicly out there. This hasn't been some hidden thing. And now, for whatever reason, the masses, including you, Bob, are finding this for the first time.
Well,
I know that, which is good. No, I'm not saying this to belittle. I'm just saying that it's finally jumped the shark. That people realize the depth of the politics that continue to control our puppet strings. Right.
The narrative. Listen, Matt, life is sales and sales is life. Let's not forget that. You are always selling and you are always being sold. And when you, for me, it's incredibly freeing when I come at life like that. Like I am always being sold. And if I want to get what I want out of life and in life, I should always be selling. Anyway, I want to preface that as we
can we bring back, by the way, always be selling. Can we bring back Glenn Ross, Alec Baldwin versus the whiny bitch Alec Baldwin today? Just check
exactly.
Yep.
All right, here, let me share.
Because if Alec Baldwin was always selling, we'd be a lot better off.
Here we are, 8 predictions for the world in 2030, which is only 10 years away. It's not long.
It's 9 years away now. You'll own nothing, Bob, and you'll be happy. Nothing. You'll rent everything. What a great deal. What about those people that have paid cash for all their things?
I don't know.
They're screwed. Oh, they'll take them from you. That's the whole idea. This is, by the way, this is what socialism wants to do.
Wait a second.
We're gonna make
you print
human
organs.
Meat. Yep, and we're gonna make you human meat that you can eat. Yum. And green. It's all green, Bob. You won't need
Everything's green.
You don't need to do anything. What does that mean, by the way? 1 billion people displaced because they're starving. That's what that means. Frank.
Well, there it is. I'm sorry. There will be a global price. I clicked it off before, the global price on carbon. And, the crazy thing about this is they start out with, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Yep.
I mean, shut up, Spalding. If that doesn't jump to your mind, like you'll eat nothing and like it. Yeah. I mean, are you kidding me? Who are they selling to?
You'll have nothing, you'll own nothing, and you'll be happy.
It just blows me away that that they're selling. Of course, they're selling this, right?
Yes.
But who is buying it? Who is buying this? And hold on one second, Matt. Take off on that.
Europe. Okay.
Going bananas here.
Europe has gone. For a second here. Hey, Bob. Europe has gone full bore. The World Economic Forum 2030. They've totally committed, and this is what's going on. This is what's going on behind the scenes, from Soros to Klaus Schmidt from East Germany. By the way, he's no fascist. Gates with his whole vaccine and green and eugenics in the background. This stuff is all interrelated. You can call it what it is, but Trudeau is totally sold out. Their pensions are kaput from Europe. And this is what we're talking about. So Europe's pensions continue to be the first that we're going to be seeing the pain. We'll start seeing them here early 21. They've already canceled elections in Germany in the spring. Trudeau is totally on board because his entire pension system is kaput. It's fraud. They can't pay out. That will trickle down. Europe's going to, that's why they're all joining on. England's in trouble. As we've talked about this, these themes continue. So these guys are using this again as a means to keep the pressure on and have government become bigger and badder and be your big brother. I mean, it just continues no matter how you want to look at it. And it will fail. It will fail, but it will create, in my opinion, and I think this is what we want to talk about, opportunities that haven't been in markets before, because we're entering basically a new paradigm shift in markets where we're going to see volatility based upon this information and the chaos that will ensue from this.
Well, that's exactly what I want to talk about, Matt. That the chaos is coming. How could it not come? And here's this was a tweet that I wanted to bring up. Venezuela, Canadian money supply. Look at that line. I mean, talk about off the chart. Now, the only maybe rebuttal to this is that everybody's printing money as fast as they can during this. So net, what does it really mean? Well, that's fine until people decide that they want to hold one versus the other, a la Venezuela, a la Argentina several times, a la most recently in Beirut, in what country's Beirut in?
Lebanon.
In Lebanon, they've just this year had a currency debacle.
Yeah.
So,
and then this is what happens when the confidence, hence con game, falls apart. People don't know that the con game actually means confidence game. And what we're seeing now is a lack of confidence in most big governments failing. And that's what's happened in Venezuela. That's what has happened in Lebanon. That is what has happened many times in Argentina. When socialism falls apart, the capital leaves those countries. It leaves investing in those places because they know that once socialism takes over, you're effed. Well, as far as money is concerned.
Right, exactly.
Capital.
I want to find the chart and bring it up because, again, it hasn't showed up yet in the charts. That doesn't mean that it won't at some point. And we talk ad nauseum, Matt, about it doesn't matter what you want to look at. It doesn't matter what you think. The only thing that matters is when it shows up in the chart. So do you have an ability to bring the chart up now, or do you want me to?
Which chart do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about U.S. Canada futures.
You mean the
Canadian dollar, or yeah.
Yeah, I can try to bring up.
Because we have the a perfect example here, the Canada-Venezuela tweet. You see that money supply, and it's how trades evolve for sure. You start talking about subjects and the implications. And I'm seeing what you're seeing. It's actually pressing the upside. Well, not to this longer term profile.
Yeah,
the longer term.
But this is a great chart. That's why I brought it up. This is a weekly chart.
Right on.
Very bullish. We had an explosion here, right? And that was back in, again, shutdown version 1. And now we're back into the settlement, which is where we started. And nothing's changed. And the dollar, again, has pulled back, the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. And I think if you want a good spot to pick up, again, it plays into my premise, which is the US dollar will be the last, major currency. It's still the world's reserve currency. It will be the last one standing until the final cards are played. And yeah, you're starting to see it. Even on, this is a 6-10 minute chart. It's put in nice bottoms. It made a lower bottom, pressed down there early November, and now it's just buying time again. So it's just a matter of time, I think. And again, you see this, it's kind of mirroring the rest of the market. We're just kind of stuck. We're kind of hanging in there. We're not going up. We're not going down. But
so just to be clear, as that rallies, that's the dollar gaining ground versus the Canadian dollar.
Correct. If you go to Canada, your money goes a lot further as this goes up. That's correct.
Right on.
Yep. And so that's real, and it's happening, Bob. And I think it's something that people should be aware of, that Canada's on board, New England, the UK, entire European continent is on board with this World Economic Forum because they're screwed. I mean, so they're basically buying off the governments of all these European Union countries to try to get them under the EU umbrella. And again, the whole idea of the EU was doomed to fail from day one, because you basically have 70 different independent countries that you said, okay, we're all going to become the United States now. Well, the United States didn't happen that way, right? We didn't set out to create the United States. We left, we Americans, our forefathers left the United Kingdom, where they were basically similar situation that is happening now in our country was happening in England, right? They wanted to tax you for things that made no sense. They wanted to, over-regulate, burden the business owners back in London. So people just said, screw it. We can go to these new places and we can set up shop, and our cost of living will go down, and it should be a great place to live. And I think you'll see these same types of migratory things happen away from Europe, moving to, possibly states like Texas and Florida, where there is no shutdown going on right now. They're saying, you know what, we're wide open for business people. And we're not charging state income tax for you to open your business in Texas and Florida today.
Well, I mean, we've talked about that too, especially going forward. But if people go on to fixed incomes as they retire, expecting them to just carte blanche give away 10% of their income,
to live in Chicago, why would you? Yeah.
Why would you? Is the good question. Why would you? All right, Matt. Listen, I want to talk something that came up. I saw this yesterday and on Friday, and and this just, I want to bring this up for two reasons. First of all, that it reflects that people, and they act out of their own best interest, no matter what. At the end of the day, that's what happens. And so there's a price war between top cocoa producers. Really, the price of cocoa has been plummeting because of the COVID pandemic. Again,
you say this, but I'm bringing up the chart as we go about it. I don't know when you're talking about, but I'm just looking at an 89-minute chart, Bob, and cocoa is from November 1st went from 22.17. It's 28, almost 28 cents now. It's gone through the roof.
All right, so here's the backstory on it. So I guarantee you, they carried people out that were selling the seasonal spread as it blew out, right? saying this can't be here. It's never been here before. It's never done this. Well, it turns out Hershey's, one of the great American chocolate stories, has been buying cocoa futures and pushing that spread for the sole benefit of Hershey's and Hershey's shareholders, because guess what? They get to just take delivery of the cocoa and thereby avoid paying the agreement to Ghana, this LID agreement, which supposedly gets more money into cocoa farmers' hands. I don't know all the details of it. What I do know that in all things, people act for their own best interest. So they put in a thing that was going to help the farmers. All the major cocoa companies agreed with it. All of a sudden, their market gets squeezed severely because of COVID. Now they're looking for any way they can to save on their bottom line. Oh, I guarantee somebody came into a meeting and said, "Why don't we just get long as many futures as we can and take delivery, and then we don't have to pay the tax."
Yeah.
The other guy's like, well, "That's the greatest idea I've ever heard."
And that explains.
This goes to show, like you're going to own nothing and be happy. Who are they kidding? Like in what world order is that going to work?
Well,
it doesn't work in. Believe me, it doesn't work in your family. It doesn't work in your neighborhood. It doesn't work at the state level. It just doesn't. That's not human nature. And to pump it and to try to sell it, that what just blows me away about the selling, the video, the selling of it. The first thing that they tell you is you're going to own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
That's who. And what if I'm not happy? Then what happens?
Bob, this is the thing that astounds me, is that now that people like yourself and across the board are seeing this, they're like, what the F are they talking about? But it is, you're absolutely right. It's an advertising sales pitch. It's marketing 101. The more they repeat it, and again, they're right out in the open with this stuff right now. And you need to look at why some of these policies and procedures that, and again, at some point policy will matter again. That hasn't mattered for the last couple of years, but when governmental policies begin to matter again, people are going to blow their lid about this stuff because they're not going to roll over. You know, the businesses that are doing fine aren't going to say, "Oh yeah, here you go, government. We want you to have it all."
I mean,
if you think you have shortages in cocoa because of COVID, wait until the government starts owning, the I mean, you'll never have a chocolate bar again.
All right, last one, because we bring in the crypto story most every day and talk cryptos. One thing that I wanted to say is, whoa, cryptos have been on fire. There's the Beaksy rocket. Is if you want to play cryptos, look at and you just want to own the pickaxes and the shovels. The chip is the thing to own.
Because the miners, functionally.
A mining equipment is an electronic device. It needs a microchip, and there will be. It's going to be there's a war. There's a war for sure of having the best and fastest equipment because you earn most rewards on that. So this story's not going away for sure.
And you see that story,
your opinion on NVIDIA, the chart, what's it telling you?
Well, again, we're in a really nice, comfortable spot here where we've pulled back. We saw 592. If you can pick it up here, around 500, probably a buy again. Anytime it gets back, and we're trading 527, so hasn't been particularly strong. And this is something I wanted to talk about. Really, when you look at this market today, again, interestingly enough, the SPUs and the NASDAQ are stuck. The Russell, by the way, is making all-time highs as we speak again. So small caps are leading us, which is interesting because we're not coming off a bottom. But look at this. I mean, small caps are going through the roof. 1829 is a new, I think it's an all-time high again on the Russell. I don't know what to make of it, Bob, but we've gone parabolic. I mean, look at that thing. Look
Wow.
at Russell. We have gone absolutely parabolic. This thing's only been trading this version of it has only been trading 3 or 4 years, but it's through the roof, but it is an all-time high, even if you took the old numbers. The other things that I wanted to talk about, because we haven't talked about them in a while, is FANG, and that's FAA, double N if you want, and then G, and one of the ends is NVIDIA. So that kind of kicks it off, and the others are Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, NVIDIA, and Google. Right? Those stocks today are really the only reason I believe that we're down. If you look at these as far as the overall market, the S&P and the NASDAQ, here's Apple. This thing has been, since it spiked up here to 122 back in, early November, it's just been kind of selling off weak, but it doesn't, it's not a scary looking sale by any means, but it's not positive. Facebook also, as the F on the FANG is, whoops, I brought up Ford Motor, wrong one. Facebook, again, 297 back here to 269. Again, this hit the lower bracket, on Friday or rather this morning, 264. You can probably start nibbling on this again as it comes in here and gets lower. Amazon has been weak, even with the holiday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Everything's Cyber Monday now anymore. So, but we're still within that same bracket we've talked about. We've talked about this, ad nauseum, but, we're holding. So to me, that's still fairly bullish when you look at these FANG stocks, and they're taking a break. So if you truly want the pullback, now is probably the time. Even Google, which has been not so weak, finally showing some weakness today, but not breaking, continues to hold that 1700 level. And that still looks, fairly decent to me. Not as much. Like I'd prefer some type of pair trade where I'm actually shorting Google and buying the others if I wanted to, put on something there. But that's just kind of how I look at it. And then Netflix, the final of the FANG consortium, as I like to call it, because it is very much money flows into these things together. But again, 572 back in October, and just hanging around that comfortable, this is bullish. This is a bullish looking chart. As long as that low of 460 holds, this is looking good.
Right on, Matthew. All right, what else do we got?
Well, here's something I wanted to talk about, and we kind of talked about it with the Canadian dollar, and we can look at it just really simply with, we're seeing some breaks. We saw a huge sell-off today. A big seller came on after we made a new high in the euro. So that's strange to me. I mean, we made a new high pre-market, and then somebody came in and said, okay, now it's time to get the hell out. And I mean, look at that. You don't see this is
not brought up. You didn't bring it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Apologize for that.
No worries.
Let me bring it up.
I'm here to keep things technologically sound.
Exactly. But what I was saying is we hit an all-time high, not an all-time high, but a new high on this move in the euro for the year. Or not for the year, but we traded 120, but for this recent move. But we haven't gone back to that 120. But once we hit that today, we hit that 119 area. Somebody came in and said, we're not going any higher. We took out 4 days of lows here. This is significant.
Especially in a market so deep as the foreign exchange market.
Correct. This is not a penny stock. This is
World Series of Poker type stacks. This is big
money here. So when big money says, hey, we're taking out this is 1 week. We just made a new high and we reversed, made a low. This is bearish to me. And this rally that you're getting right now into the end of the day, time to short basically from here up to here again. It's a very defined, because somebody does not want this to go higher. Somebody's willing to sell all they can. And you saw that right there. So this is a bounce to the top of this, day zone, but this thing probably is not going to get back above here again. It looks like to me, and probably is going to be a good short opportunity. Again, the big picture for me, US dollar, you want to own it. You don't want to be in the euro. You don't want to be in Canadian. I mean, even if I, bring up the Canadian dollar, what is it? 60.
Yeah.
I got to bring up the futures though. But let's just look at those. It's not going to look much different than what we saw earlier. But
just the inverse of it, right?
Yep. And I am not bringing it up.
Work with me, baby. Work with me.
I'm trying my bestest. It's not coming up. Anyways, you get the picture.
We already saw it. It's just the inverse of that chart.
Yep. So again, we're Monday of a holiday week. I hate these holiday weeks because they get a little silly usually. you got to hang around in case there's some big news. But so far, it's pretty quiet. Even Bitcoin, again, triggered Friday with a new 19,000 and hasn't gone back. It's tried a couple times. Also very violent on the moves here, right? This was Friday afternoon after the regular market closed, tested again, then sold off huge. I mean, it went from 19 down to 17.6. I don't care what you say. That's a 7, 8, 9% sell-off. And then it goes right back up and right back down 2 or 3 more times.
It's getting pretty untradeable. I had flipped into Litecoin and made a few extra dollars. And then, I trashed Ethereum versus Bitcoin last week. And then late last Friday, it moonshotted. So for sure, we have, similar to the equities, we have a rotation here into the alts, especially some of the top alts. Matt, if you have XRP up there, take a look at XRP, because I can't.
While I have you here, hold on one second before we do that. Just want to talk about gold real quick.
Yeah,
gold fell out today. It fell out, finally broke through 1850. We've been talking about it, how that's the line in the sand. And sure enough, it gave up, and 1750 or so. Again, it's got nothing but downside now. And this heaviness of the failure over the last 3 or 4 months for it to go higher is really telling. And I would be wary. Don't be a gold bug just because every gold letter is always long gold. It's like realtors. They're always long real estate, but there's a time to buy and there's a time to sell. Now ain't the time to be buying gold. And then XRP, you were asking me?
Yeah. So again, we're rotating out of Bitcoin into a bunch of the alts. But this had a 20% move today, or since Friday, I guess.
I didn't want to come up.
That's the wrong one. You're going the wrong way. Favorite Thanksgiving movie, by the way.
I know. It's a good one.
Look at that. Moonshot.
Right.
And now XRP, for you non-crypto people, more of the banking fiat legacy coin in the space. All right. Built by banks, backed by banks. A unique proposition in that that you use the coin, and once it's used in a transaction, it gets burned, I think. I'm not sure. Please don't bring me in as the technology expert of any of these things.
You're not the story guy. I'm just a chart
I'm just
guy.
telling you that if you are long XRP,
Take some profit.
please take some money off. Exactly. It is such a moonshot here that if you don't take some money off the table, when it goes back to 28 cents after being at 54 or 55, wherever it is now, I mean, you feel like such an idiot. Take something off the table, please. Bank. That's all I got to say about that. You got to bank. Anyway, similar as the Russell seems to be, there's some rotation now out of S&Ps, Dows, those stocks, and into the Russell. We for sure have an alt season brewing here. I highlighted it last week with Litecoin being the only one that looked interesting to me. Now a few more of them, and I missed XRP and that moonshot. But had I been on it, believe me, I took the Litecoin off the table here on this move. If I were long XRP, I'd be taking it off the table also.
But Bob, it's traded 340 before.
That's great, and believe me, I don't mind picking this thing back up if on a retracement. I'm looking
at the simple RSI on a weekly 83. Might not be done, but I mean back here, God, this thing saw 92. So it's probably still got some room to go. But again, what about your momentum levels on that? I'd be curious to see what that looks like.
Let me share.
On the weeklies.
Let me share. I'll do the sharing, dang it.
Monkey boy.
All right, let's go up and look at against the dollar. XRP 53 on the 3-day, it's blown through it, like gone. And you got a fractal out now weekly, way through it.
Monthly.
And again, this is like, from a standard deviation level, this is like, batting for the cycle 6 games in a row. I mean, let's just
right.
That's what it is. That's what this is. It's batting for the cycle 6 games in a row. It's like, come on, this shit doesn't happen that often. Take some money off the table. You can't spend it unless you take it off the table, firstly, right? And secondly, that's a moonshot. It's a moonshot. Yeah, might it go further? Sure. But from a standard deviation basis, it is so overdone. It's ridiculous. And now how about this on this Bitfinex chart? Just enough data for us to look at the life of the contract, let's say the life of XRP. And amazingly, that shot to 340 or whatever that was, the all-time highs. Right now, just running into the life of XRP, into that average. So again, another reason why you should be taking some profits and reestablish. And here, how about if you're a maximalist, you don't have to get out of all of it, but why not bank some profits and look for maybe 35 cents on a pullback, like it has done that entire chart, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's gone into these collar levels and then it has come back. All right. Anyway, please take some profits and buy me something nice. Send it to me here in Bend, Oregon.
Hey, Bob, what's your play for the turkey Thursday night? How do you do your turkey? You brined it? What do you do? Brine it?
You know what? I got to tell you, I think people let me just tell you something about the floor, because especially this week, things get slow. Right now, you're sharing newspapers, you're doing every puzzle possible, right? Amazingly, Manja.tv, the sidekick that you know about that I am part of, spurred out of a pit conversation, right? We talk about food a lot in the pit when things got slow, and turkeys were one of them. And I had this guy swear to me that the best way that you could make a turkey is to take cheesecloth, get it wet, right, and then drape the turkey with cheesecloth. Now, the problem with this is you got to keep taking that cheesecloth on and off every like 20 minutes for 4 hours. It's right. It just singes. I had third-degree burns on my hands by the time I was done. I couldn't carve the turkey. Yeah, it was a beautiful, moist turkey. Ended up being incredible. But, you know, what's incredible? It was like 3% better than the year before. It for sure wasn't twice as good. Yeah. I think people overthink it with the turkey.
It's turkey.
3 1/4, 15 minutes a pound. Cover it for the first 2 hours, pull it off, let it brown up, baste it. I'm not against basting by any means.
Yeah.
You know, but I think people tend to overthink it, and the whole thing about don't stuff the turkey because of E. coli or chickenosis or some bullshit that you're going to get.
The thing's cooking.
Come on, cook it long enough that the internal temperature is 160 degrees, and you don't have to worry about any of those things. Stuff your bird. All right, and listen. Stuff your bird and stuff this frickin' idea that you're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy. All right, just stuff that.
Amen.
Especially, maybe it's sometime in the future when humans are enlightened. I'm all for the enlightenment of human nature and becoming a better person. Matt, the reason why Christianity is such a hard religion is because it sets the bar so high. I have no problem with that. I have no problem embracing that. We need to learn as a human collective to be kinder, to love one another, to all those things. That's great. But to think that you're just going to be told what to do and you're going to be happy is the most naive thing I've ever contemplated. Give me a frickin' break. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Happy Thanksgiving, Bobby.
Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow for another segment of Market Vitals. Please join the community, marketvitals.io. It's free. And we don't want you to join for free. We want you to join and then join one of our private groups because there's added value for sure in joining a community of traders with the premise that I'm going to be honest with you about my thoughts about the market as it is with respect to profit and loss, risk and reward. All right? That's what it's based on. Anyway.
Amen, Bobby.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Peace.